Bathed in the fiery glow of Mount Doom's tumultuous cavern, Frodo stood at the edge of the precipice, the oppressive heat dancing against his skin like ribbons of searing flame. The very air crackled with an ominous energy, a palpable sense of impending doom seeming to echo in the chamber's depths. Frodo's eyes, once bright with determination and courage, now glinted with a haunted intensity, the weight of his burdens etched into the lines of his weary face. But beneath the surface of his steely resolve lurked a shadowy doubt, a creeping paranoia that gnawed at his sanity, whispering deceitful lies of betrayal and deception. As he peered down into the accursed chasm, Frodo's mind swirled with dark thoughts and twisted visions, the once clear path now obscured by a fog of mistrust and suspicion. The loyalty that had anchored him throughout their arduous journey seemed to fray at the edges. The camaraderie he once shared with Sam now twisted into a sinister web of deceit and treachery. In that moment, with the ring dangling temptingly from his grasp, Frodo felt the creeping influence of its power tugging at his very soul, clouding his judgment and sowing seeds of doubt where none had existed before. The descent into madness had been subtle, a gradual erosion of his once steadfast faith and unwavering resolve, a chilling reminder of the corrupting influence of the ring. And as Frodo's hand reached out to claim the One Ring for himself, a glimmer of the hobbit he once was shimmered beneath the veil of darkness, a poignant echo of the light that had flickered within him before the shadows of Mordor had taken hold. In the peaceful landscape of the Shire, where Frodo Baggins found solace in the cozy confines of Bag End, a sense of belonging and camaraderie with friends enveloped him. Amidst the tranquil rhythms of his simple life, a longing for the unknown stirred in his heart, overshadowed by the impending winds of change that loomed on the horizon. As Frodo's mind wandered through the meadows of the Shire and tales of distant lands spun by his uncle Bilbo, his thoughts turned to the wonders beyond his peaceful homeland, igniting a curiosity and yearning for adventure. In the tranquility of the Shire, Frodo grappled with a secret desire for adventure, oblivious to the imminent winds of change set to disrupt the peace of his homeland. Amidst the calmness of the Shire, a sense of uneasy stillness settled over the land. Gandalf the Grey, with his piercing eyes and weathered cloak, stood somberly before Frodo in the dimly lit chamber of Bag End. The flickering glow of the hearth cast dancing shadows across the room, revealing the gravity of the wizard's words. His voice grave and solemn, Gandalf spoke of the truth that had been unveiled. Bilbo's cherished ring was none other than the One Ring, the dark and baleful object that threatened to bring untold doom upon Middle-earth. As this revelation hung heavy in the air, the weight of Frodo's destiny settled upon his shoulders like a cloak of shadows, casting a pall over his carefree demeanor. Frodo's eyes, once bright with innocence and curiosity, now flickered with a mixture of fear and determination. The peacefulness of the Shire seemed to fade into the background, replaced by a sense of foreboding uncertainty that coiled in the pit of Frodo's stomach. The realization of the task ahead pierced through him, stirring a tempest of conflicting emotions within. Desperate to cling to the simplicity of his life in the Shire, Frodo's trembling hands reached out to Gandalf, offering up the burden of the ring that threatened to shatter his world. The weight of responsibility bore down upon him, a heavy chain that bound him to a fate he never wished to embrace. In his entreaty to the wise wizard, Frodo's voice quivered with a plea for deliverance, for a reprieve from the impending doom that loomed on the horizon. Yet, as Gandalf's gaze met his own with unwavering resolve, Frodo felt a flicker of realization ignite within him. The quest to destroy the ring was his alone to bear, a journey that he must face head-on, no matter the cost. In that moment of profound reckoning, Frodo's journey from innocence to heroism began, as he reluctantly accepted the mantle of destiny that fate had thrust upon him. In that moment, Frodo stood at the threshold of a path he had not chosen, with a future unknown and uncertain stretching out before him like a daunting abyss. The echoes of Gandalf's words lingered in the air, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever alter Frodo, plunging him into a world of shadows and light, where the true test of his courage and resilience awaited. As Frodo embarked on his journey from the serene Shire, A sense of foreboding gripped his heart. The burden of the ring pressed heavily against his chest, providing dark thoughts that wormed their way into his mind. Despite his valiant efforts to resist its allure, Frodo could feel it chipping away at his sanity, casting shadows over his once pure intentions. Although his quest had just begun, Frodo was aware that the power of the ring was already much greater than he had imagined. Traversing through the dense old forest, Frodo thought he sensed eyes following his every move, unseen and ominous. The twisted trees seemed to beckon him into their dark embrace, the branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. The ring's whispers grew louder, a siren call tempting him, while instilling fear and doubt in his heart. Each step towards Bree felt like a march into the unknown, the weight of his mission pressing heavily upon him. Yet amidst the encroaching shadows, Frodo clung to the flicker of hope that burned within him, a fragile light guiding him through the darkness. In Bree, the prancing pony was alive with the sounds of laughter and merry tunes that filled the air with a lively energy, a stark contrast to the uneasiness the companions had encountered thus far. Frodo once again found himself caught up in the joyful atmosphere, the upbeat melodies lifting his spirits and filling him with a sense of lightness. The evilness of the ring seemed far away, though always in the back of his mind. The Shire seemed further away than ever, and Frodo yearned for the tranquility of home, yet the memory of the ring's influence lingered in the hidden recesses of his mind. As his turn to sing approached, Frodo suddenly felt an unbidden desire to make a lasting impression on the other patrons, a mischievous twinkle in his eye betraying the inner conflict that raged within him. With a blend of anticipation and nervousness, Frodo slid the ring onto his finger, seeking to wield its power in a playful jest. In an instant, the world around him twisted and contorted, cloaking him in invisibility and leaving the room in stunned silence as he vanished from sight. Alone in his unseen state, Frodo felt a surge of exhilaration at his newfound ability, a thrill that was tempered by a creeping chill that seeped through his bones. The echoes of merry laughter and cheerful tunes were drowned out by the insidious whispers of the ring, a quiet pull that lured him further into the shadows of his mind. The dichotomy of the jovial occasion and the dark allure of the ring weighed heavily on Frodo's heart, casting a shadow of doubt over his once carefree revelry. The innocent prank had now taken on a sinister hue, a reminder of the treacherous path he walked and the darkness that threatened to consume him from within. In that moment, Frodo realized that the influence of the ring was a force far more dangerous than he had ever dared to imagine, and he knew that the journey ahead would test not only his strength of will, but the very essence of his being. Having hastily departed from Bree in hopes of escaping the whispers of darkness that lingered in the air, Frodo and his companions now realized that the malevolent presence they sought to evade had stealthily trailed behind them. They sat with their backs to the fire atop Amon Sul, the wind howling around them as they gazed out at the darkened landscape below. The terror of approaching shadowy figures caused Frodo's entire body to shake, while his companions threw themselves on the ground. The desire to succumb to the ring's influence suddenly gnawed at his mind, clouding his thoughts and blurring his sense of reality. In that moment, Frodo felt a sense of paralysis, abruptly consumed only by the desire to wear the ring. As the dark figures moved ever closer, Frodo's inner turmoil reached a breaking point. The urge to wear the ring became overwhelming, drowning out any rational thought or reason. It was as if a shadow had fallen over his mind, shrouding his senses in a haze of temptation and deceit. In his desperation, Frodo's hand reached for the ring, his fingers trembling as he struggled to resist its pull. Suddenly, the ring was on his finger, and the shadowy forms became clear. Suddenly, a piercing cry shattered the silence of the night, jolting Frodo back to his senses. The attack came swiftly, catching him off guard and forcing him to confront the harsh reality of his situation. In a moment of desperation, Frodo cried out for help, invoking the name of Varda, the Queen of the Stars. It was a plea for salvation, a desperate prayer for deliverance from the darkness that threatened to consume him. And in that moment, Frodo's psychology shifted, his will to resist reignited by the sheer terror of the danger he faced. Waking in Rivendell, Frodo's mind battled echoes of fear and doubt from his encounter with the Dark Wraith and its cursed blade. The healing light of the elven sanctuary and the happy faces of his friends brought some relief for his mind, though the ghastly wound remained. After Frodo had regained some strength, Elrond called a council together to determine the fate of the ring. Frodo sat amongst the gathered company, his heart heavy with the weight of the ring's influence and the lingering pain of his encounter with the Morgul blade. Memories of the ring's seductive whispers at the prancing pony and the harrowing wraith-infested night at Weathertop haunted his mind, leaving a lingering unease in their wake. As the council members discussed the dangers that lay ahead, Frodo's keen senses could feel the pervasive presence of the ring, its insidious influence, casting a shadow over the gathering. He could sense the subtle shifts in demeanor, the flickers of temptation that danced behind the eyes of those around him. Though they knew it not, the allure of power and the promise of dominion tugged at their hearts, a terrible force that threatened to corrupt even the noblest of intentions. But amidst the gathering storm of temptation and doubt, Frodo's resolve shone like a beacon in the darkness. The memory of the selfless sacrifices and steadfast courage his companions had shown him bolstered his spirits and steeled his resolve. He understood the immense weight of the burden he bore, the responsibility that rested on his shoulders alone. With a newfound clarity, Frodo knew that he must bear the weight of the ring, for the fate of Middle-earth hung in the balance. As the council discussions unfolded and voices rose in debate, Frodo's gaze remained fixed on the ring before him, his fingers twitching with an unspoken desire to claim it, to end the torment that gnawed at his very essence. But a fierce determination burned in his soul, a fire kindled by the love and loyalty of his friends, the unwavering bonds that had carried him through the darkest of days. With a solemn resolve, Frodo made his decision in the face of uncertainty and danger, knowing that the road ahead would be fraught with peril, but determined to face it with courage and steadfastness. And so, amidst the whispers of power and the clamor of conflicting voices, Frodo made his choice. He would take upon himself the burden of the ring, for he alone bore the strength and the will to resist its seductive call. The shadow of temptation may have clouded the minds of his companions, but Frodo stood resolute, his heart steadfast and his spirit unwavering. With the weight of destiny heavy upon his shoulders, Frodo stepped forward, accepting the duty of ring-bearer, his eyes fixed on the daunting path that lay ahead. As the Fellowship ventured into the dark depths of Moria, Frodo's heart grew heavy. The oppressive darkness of the mines pressed in on him, suffocating the air with an almost tangible weight of despair. The shadows seemed to whisper ancient tales of sorrow and loss, their haunting echoes reverberating through the labyrinth of corridors, amplifying Frodo's fears and uncertainties. The presence of Gollum, lurking on the fringes of their journey, only added to the creeping sense of unease, his malevolent gaze a constant reminder of the treacherous forces that sought to thwart their path. But amidst the encroaching darkness, the guiding light of Gandalf's wisdom and strength offered a beacon of hope for Frodo and the Fellowship. His reassuring presence served as a bulwark against the shadows, a pillar of unwavering resolve that bolstered their spirits in the face of the growing peril. Yet, as they delved deeper into the heart of Moria, a cataclysmic event unfolded that shattered the fragile peace of their journey. The clash with the Balrog and the subsequent loss of Gandalf plunged Frodo into a pit of grief and anguish. The echoes of the wizard's valiant sacrifice reverberated through the cavernous halls, a thunderous reminder of the price paid in their quest. The sudden absence of Gandalf's guiding light left a void in Frodo's soul, a profound loss that threatened to consume him with its bleak emptiness. With Gandalf's fall, an unsettling transformation swept over Frodo's thoughts. The weight of responsibility bore down on him, and the absence of their wise guide left an alarming void in his soul. Outside the dreary tunnels of Moria, a creeping sense of doubt began to cloud Frodo's judgment, whispering artful suggestions that the task of destroying the ring should be shouldered by him alone. The echoes of Gandalf's sacrifice fueled this growing conviction, prompting a shift in Frodo's resolve that hinted at the ring's poisonous influence seeping into his heart. As they journeyed deeper into the shadows, Frodo found himself torn between the burden of destiny and the deceptive allure of the ring's whispers, a subtle tug of war that threatened to steer him off course from his quest. As the Fellowship sought refuge in the ethereal realm of Lothlorien, Frodo's spirits were lifted by the tranquil beauty that enveloped them. The golden trees and shimmering waters of the forest whispered with a soothing melody, calming his troubled thoughts and offering a respite from the shadows that had haunted their journey. Amidst the beauty of Lothlorien, Frodo met the enigmatic Lady Galadriel, her otherworldly presence casting a radiant light over their weary hearts. Under the watchful gaze of Galadriel, Frodo was presented with the opportunity to gaze into the mystical waters of her mirror, a pool that reflected visions of the past, the present, and of things that could come to be. As Frodo peered into the mirror, the images shifted and swirled, each vision more cryptic and enigmatic than the last. Frodo felt a growing sense of unease gnawing at the edges of his consciousness. The mysterious allure of the mirror's revelations beckoned him, teasing glimpses of secrets and truths that lay beyond his grasp. Amidst this enigmatic display, a singular vision emerged with disconcerting clarity, a sinister, unblinking eye that glared from the heart of the mirror, its relentless scrutiny fixated upon Frodo. The eye exuded a palpable aura of desire and hunger, its gaze piercing through the veil of the mirror, as if striving to lay claim to Frodo's very essence. The intensity of this vision sent a shiver down Frodo's spine, a chilling reminder of the ominous forces that sought to ensnare him and bend him to their will. Stepping back from the mirror, Frodo found himself in a state of introspection, the weight of the eye's malevolent gaze lingering like an unshakable specter in his thoughts. The encounter with Galadriel in the mirror had unraveled a cryptic tapestry of mystery and disquiet, urging him to delve deeper into the shadows that threatened to envelop his path. The vision of the eye's unyielding desire had left a profound impact on Frodo's mindset, stirring within him a newfound sense of vigilance and resolve as he grappled with the enigmatic truths that had been revealed within the mirror's depths. After leaving Lothlorien, Frodo and the Fellowship continued their journey towards Mordor. Following the events in Amon Hen that lead to the death of Boromir and the breaking of the Fellowship, Frodo and Sam found themselves in the company of the elusive Gollum, who had sworn to guide them to Mordor. As they traversed the dark and perilous lands, Frodo's mental state began to rapidly deteriorate, haunted by the influences of the ring and the deceptive wiles of Gollum. With the proximity to Mordor becoming ever closer, Frodo's mind began to lose its grasp on reality, doubts and delusions creeping in and casting shadows of uncertainty over their path. Captured by Faramir and Ithilien, the decision to continue their journey with Gollum as their guide through the treacherous terrain of Ithilien towards Cirith Ungol marked a pivotal moment in their quest, setting the stage for the harrowing challenges that lay ahead. As Gollum led Frodo and Sam up the treacherous path of Cirith Ungol, a palpable sense of foreboding saturated the air, weaving around them like a veiled cloak of darkness. Each step up the jagged cliffs seemed to take them deeper into a realm of shadow and uncertainty, mirroring the labyrinthine passages of Frodo's own tormented mind. The weight of the ring seemed to pull Frodo down, like a burden too heavy to bear, its insidious whispers growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment, playing upon the frayed edges of his consciousness. As they ascended into the heart of Cirith Ungol, the encroaching gloom enveloped them in a shroud of ambiguity and unease, blurring the boundaries between reality and illusion. Gollum's deceitful counsel added to the disorienting haze, his whispering words like tendrils of darkness curling around Frodo's thoughts, coaxing him towards a path fraught with peril and deception. The shadows seemed to dance in sinister delight, quietly proclaiming half-truths and distorted promises that twisted the fabric of Frodo's perception, distorting his grasp on reality. The arrival at Shelob's lair marked a descent into a realm of primal terror and twisted shadows, where the ancient spider's malevolent presence loomed like a specter of darkness. As Shelob's intent became clear, Frodo's mind teetered on the brink of a precipice, his sanity tested by the illusion that threatened to engulf his senses. The closer they ventured towards Mordor, the more the delusions crept in, weaving a web of confusion and doubt that clouded Frodo's judgment and sowed seeds of mistrust and despair. At last, Frodo was captured by the monstrous spider. As her venom seared through Frodo's veins, the pinnacle of his mind's descent into darkness was reached, mirroring the physical paralysis that now gripped his body. The sting of Shelob's venom plunged Frodo into a nightmarish realm of delusion and despair, where the shadows of doubt and fear intertwined with the creeping numbness that spread through his limbs. Paralyzed by the venom's effects, Frodo found himself enmeshed in illusions that clouded his judgment and distorted his perception, a sinister reflection of the mental anguish and torment that haunted his shattered mind. Just as his body lay in the grips of Shelob's venomous embrace, so too did Frodo's psyche succumb to the insidious whispers of the ring and the treacherous machinations of his own inner demons, casting a pall of darkness over his consciousness that threatened to consume him whole. As Frodo lay paralyzed in the aftermath of Shelob's venomous sting, his mind ensnared in a labyrinth of delusion and despair, it was Sam's steadfast and unwavering resolve that ultimately rescued him from the brink of darkness. With unyielding determination, Samwise the Brave liberated Frodo from the hands of the orcs and carried him, body and soul, to the cracks of doom. The journey was fraught with peril and shadow, the weight of the ring continuing to burrow into Frodo's very soul as they navigated the tortuous path towards the heart of Mount Doom. Against all odds, Sam's unwavering loyalty and Frodo's dwindling resolve propelled them towards the fateful moment that would decide the fate of Middle-earth, their arrival at the cracks of doom marking the culmination of their arduous quest. In the blazing heart of Mount Doom, Frodo stood, his gaze fixed upon the molten fires below, as the weight of the One Ring bore down upon him with a terrible intensity. The ring's presence had grown ever stronger, its whispers twisting and distorting Frodo's mind, bringing him to the point of madness. As the fiery abyss seemed to call to him, Frodo felt the influence of the ring tightening its grip around his heart, clouding his thoughts with a darkness that consumed him. The bond of trust and friendship that had guided him through countless trials now seemed but a distant memory as the ring's deceptions filled his mind with doubt and suspicion. In a moment of weakness, the shadows of Mount Doom seemed to mock Frodo's resolve, casting a sinister shadow over his memories of Sam, his loyal companion whose unwavering support had carried them through their darkest hours. The murmurs of the ring twisted his perceptions, sowing seeds of discord that gnawed at his conscience and fueled a growing paranoia. As Frodo teetered on the edge of desperation, the evil hisses grew louder, their promises beckoning him with a seductive allure. In a cruel twist of fate, the bond of fellowship that had sustained him now shattered under the weight of the ring's influence, as Frodo's mind succumbed to the lure of the One Ring and the dark desires it awakened within him. The darkness within Frodo's soul spoke of betrayals, crumbling his faith in Sam and replacing it with a chilling certainty that his steadfast friend had become a threat to his own fate. The wickedness fed on his doubt and fear, driving him to a reckless decision that would forever alter the course of their journey. As the fires of Mount Doom raged on, Frodo's will faltered, his hand reaching out to claim the One Ring for himself, heedless of the consequences that awaited. As Frodo's hand closed around the ring, a sudden struggle ensued as Gollum appeared in a frenzied state, driven by a primal desire to reclaim the object of his obsession. In a desperate bid to possess the ring once more, Gollum grappled with Frodo, their frantic struggle echoing amidst the roaring flames of Mount Doom. In a final, fateful moment, his grasp slipped, and Gollum, consumed by his insatiable craving, tumbled into the fiery chasm below, taking the ring with him into the heart of the inferno. With a deafening roar, the ring was engulfed in flames, melting into nothingness, and instantly shattering the hold it had over Frodo. As the flames consumed the ring, a sense of liberation washed over Frodo, the darkness that had clouded his mind lifting like a shroud, all at once bringing him back to his right mind. The burden that had weighed so heavily upon him was lifted, and as he stood amidst the volcanic fires, the darkness that had consumed his soul was finally vanquished. In a moment, Frodo was free from the insanity that had taken root in his soul. After the destruction of the ring and the defeat of Sauron, Frodo lived out his remaining years in peace, the shadows of his past adventures gradually fading into memory. The burden that had weighed so heavily upon him was replaced by a sense of tranquility and contentment as he found solace in the simple joys of a life unencumbered by the darkness that once consumed him. As the years passed, Frodo's mind was renewed by the passage of time, his spirit revitalized by the healing balm of peace and resilience. In his twilight years, old and wizened, yet filled with a quiet wisdom, Frodo made the momentous decision to depart to the Undying Lands, where he sought a final journey of rest and renewal. With a heart filled with gratitude and a soul at peace, Frodo embarked on his last voyage, leaving behind a legacy of courage, resilience, and hope that would endure long after his footsteps had faded into the mists of time. Embark on a wondrous adventure through the fantastical realm of Tolkien by tapping the subscribe button now. Delve into captivating narratives and exhilarating escapades that will transport you to the mesmerizing landscapes of Middle-earth. Immerse yourself in the enchanting world of Tolkien's creation like never before, where each tale unfolds with magic and wonder. Seize the opportunity to be a part of this epic journey. Click the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the fellowship to begin your own extraordinary quest today.